Well, as some may know, I am something of a gun collector. And this, well, not a rich gun collector by no means. So I don't have like every variation of the Colt 1911 or every 1873 new Colt single action Army or any of the ones that Wild Bill Hickok owned or something like that. But I do have a few that are variations, and this is one. This is one I always thought was kind of cool. This is a model 1907 Savage. The case it is in is a old jewelry case that belonged to an ex-wife of mine that I redid to make a gun case out of. As you see, it has space for two magazines. This is full of bullets. I had a cleaning rod in here, but it disappeared. But, oh wait a minute. Well, I do have a brush. I do at least have a brush. Anyway, the gun itself was designed by a man named Searle, as I recall, for the Savage Arms Company. The Indian head on the grip was a Savage logo, and it was not really the Indian head of a Savage. His name really was Savage. It was developed in 1907, and this is the pocket pistol that was developed from the runner-up in the model 1911 Army trials, or the trials that came up with the .45 auto. There's about 100 to 150 of these N45 out there that are prized by collectors. I wish I had one, but no, I can't afford such a thing. So I stick to the 1907 32 auto version. Well, anyway, Savage went through several different variations, of course, like most pistols do. And if interested in such a thing, there's one book on this subject, and I'd highly recommend it. It's by a fellow named Bailey Brower Jr., and this is it. And this book outlines everything that there is ever to be known about the Savage pistol. And, I mean, there are variations upon variations. You'll notice this one has a fatter grip. We'll get to that in just a minute. Anyway, excellent book. The only other books I have on this thing are ones that I picked up as facsimiles because, and that's these two. Tenderfoot's Turn was written by, of all people, Bat Masterson. He was hired by the Savage Arms Company to write these testimonial penny novels, you know, the penny dreadfuls from the turn of the last century. Well, Bat was known for that. He, in spite of his reputation as a gunslinger, in reality he was a fixer for the Tammany Hall machine who got in trouble back in New York and had to run away, ended up in San Francisco. One day a reporter had heard of his tales and came to interview him. Bat went down to a local pawn shop, bought a small revolver, cut a bunch of notches into the grip of it, and then when the reporter came, he claimed that this was the gun he'd used to shoot a whole bunch of men in the Old West, and each knot represented a man he'd killed. Hence the beginning of a legend. In the 1950s, they even made a TV show based on it. But anyway, what he did do was write this, which is a penny dreadful. And here's a picture of a fellow in an early model automobile, wearing an auto outfit, obviously, and pulling out his trusty Savage 10 shots quick to thwart a highwayman. By the way, 10 shots quick was their logo, and the reason behind that is that the Savage, unlike other pistols of the time, had 10 rounds in this magazine. Yes, I do keep that loaded. It's clear. The Savage, it uses a double-stacked alternating pattern magazine, which is quite unique for the time. Anyway, so it held 10 shots, and that was the actual logo for the time. Anyway, That's in 1907, and that's the very first model. Later models used a Bakelite grip panel. This one uses a metal grip. In 1907, they used this metal grip. There were some problems with it, and they changed to Bakelite. Well, this gun went on to many, many different patterns and variations. And in 1917, I think it was, they actually got a military contract with, of all things, Portugal. But they couldn't sell this to Portugal, I guess. So what they did sell, and this is a variation of that, or a example of that. This is a model 1917 Savage. You'll notice it's fatter grips, and there's no grip screw here. Here, there's a grip screw. The thing also still holds 10 rounds, and it has this hook on here as versus the knurled cocking piece on this. This is not a hammer, by the way. It is a cocking piece. Savage is called a delayed blowback because most pistols of this period had a blowback action. And this one, let me get rid of the magazine here. This one sticks, as I recall. By the way, Savage changed the magazine release. This one, you push right here to release the magazine. The later ones, you push here to release the magazine. These do interchange, by the way. Let's see, take the safety off, then pull to the rear, right. Thusly. And the way this works is this cocking piece, let me do it on this one because the springs on this are a lot easier to deal with. Push down on this, turn, pull. This is the entire breech block with the firing pin. And the firing pin spring and the sear, everything is in there. The frame, barrel, recoil, and if you look inside the slide, you'll see this angled slot. That angled slot fits this nub here. As the barrel moves through the thing, when it hits that, it spins slightly. And it spins against the direction of the riflings. Thus, they say it provides a delayed blowback. I'm a little skeptical of that. That way. I'm a little skeptical of that because it just doesn't feel right that is the way it would work. The assembly is relatively easy. This one I do not leave it loaded. Anyway, this is the Savage pistol. This is a model 1917/20. The only variation you can find on a /20 is the position of where it says Savage Arms Company right here on the slide. The earlier ones don't have it in this small font. I don't know why, but you'll find that information in this book. Excellent book. If you're into Savage pistols, I strongly suggest looking into that. Anyway, these are the only two Savage pistols I have. Mr. Browser there seems to have a whole bunch of them. He's what I would refer to as an advanced collector. By the way, Tenderfoot's Turn was put out by a company called Pack Basket Publications of Tumwater, Washington, that I just kept the envelope for. You know, you never know. Besides, this makes for a handy little cased set. Anyway, that's it on the Savage pistol.